Good morning, everybody.
Good morning. So the Communications Network seeks to showcase our best the field has to offer. And that's why we're thrilled to announce this morning the creation of the Clarence B. Jones Impact Award. Many of you in this room know Dr. Jones as a pioneering speechwriter to Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. He was not only Dr. King's attorney, advisor, and confidant, he contributed to many of his speeches, including his famous speech at the March on Washington in 1963.
Dr. Jones, and I'm going to look at you as I talk about this and try not to cry. You're a hero of the civil rights movement. You're a paragon of what communications for good can mobilize. You share our common values here at the network, and you've really worked to deliver the change and champion all that the social sector needs. And that's why we created the Jones Award, not only to honor you, but to recognize the game-changing effect that strategic comms can have across the globe. And that's why impact is at the core of this award.
We're excited to share today that nominations are open for our first ever Clarence B. Jones Impact Award. We invite each of you to visit jonesaward.org to learn more about the criteria, and we encourage you to submit your nominations. All members of the network are eligible to win the award, and any member of the network may submit a nomination.
The award is going to celebrate individuals, teams, and organizations that have successfully used strategic communications to elevate social issues, to influence attitudes and beliefs, and to inspire action and social change. A worthy nomination will show that your efforts have elevated an issue, they've influenced attitudes, they've sparked and mobilized movements in really meaningful ways.
The judging panel will be made up of communications leaders, including the network's board chair, select members of the network, and network staff. So please take the time over the next few weeks to visit jonesaward.org. We encourage everyone to think about the smart work you and your colleagues have done, innovative work you may have been following for years, or perhaps something inspiring and impressive you learned about just yesterday, and submit a nomination for the Clarence B. Jones Impact Award.
So nominations, starting today, are going to be accepted until January 12th. So be sure, whip out those laptops when you get back to the office, and find someone meaningful in your career, in your office, perhaps even yourself. We really look forward to next year at CommNet 18, where we'll honor the first awardee. Chances are the honoree is sitting in this room, or that you know the person who we will present this award from stage. So go to jonesaward.org, submit your deserving communicators, and we will see you all next year.
Good morning, everybody. Thank you to Jade and Meredith for your leadership on this, which has been a pet project of mine this year at the network. And speaking of leadership, let's talk about Dr. Clarence B. Jones. I know it's pretty obvious, but humor me and let me explain why we are naming this award in his honor. Dr. Jones was a communications director and much more before the title existed. Before the era of NGOs and foundations as we know it, Dr. Jones was leading the push for a more just society through his words and his actions. His fingerprints are all over one of America's most impactful communications successes, Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.'s dream speech. And Dr. Jones is still at it over 50 years later. He's as enthusiastic and engaged a network member as we have, as many of you who have met him over the past few years can attest. And this is also a little personal for me. As a child of immigrants and a person of color, I know that the country my parents arrived in over 40 years ago and the country I grew up in was shaped for the better by Dr. Jones and his fellow activists. And for that, I am grateful. But there's more work to be done. You heard Grant say on this stage yesterday that with all that's going on, we cannot afford to remain silent. Dr. Jones is anything but. So Dr. Jones, on behalf of the Communications Network, it is my honor to present you with this token of our admiration and appreciation, and we cannot wait to showcase the best of what our sector has to offer in your name. Thank you.
I 86 going on 87. I am aware of the fragility of gratuitous, fortuitous longevity. There are only two other awards that have moved me, but even those two awards have not moved me as much as this has. The first was I received the Legacy of the Dream Award from Georgetown University at the Kennedy Center, and there was not an empty seat in the Kennedy Center. And President and Ms. Obama was in their first term. And after my remarks, the president, I got a letter from the White House in which he had invited me to come to the White House based upon what he heard in my acceptance speech. The second time, the Harvey Milk Club of San Francisco asked if I would be their keynote speaker in commemorating, at that time, the 47th anniversary of the election of Harvey Milk, the first openly gay member, political leader in San Francisco. And that was followed by an invitation to go to San Diego, where they were naming a square after Harvey Milk, and they raised the LGBTQ flag. And it was so moving, particularly after I had had the opportunity of being invited on the anniversary of Harvey Milk. I said that, to the best of my recollection, I think I've been straight all my life. There are about 5,000 people, mostly LGBTQ people in the audience. I said, but I don't know. Today, I'm looking at some beautiful people out there, I said. And a number of people came up afterwards and started hugging me. Let me say I have no illusions, in spite of my personal gratitude. I know that I am a derivative beneficiary of those people, just by the accident of longevity, that I still represent. So that when I accepted the Legacy of the Dream Award in the Kennedy Center, as I accept this award, I accept it humbly and gratefully, but I also accept it in the memory of the names of people like Fannie Lou Hamer, Victoria Gray, Reverend James Reeb, those 4 beautiful girls who were killed by dynamite on September 15th, 1963 in the 16th Street Baptist Church. I accept this award in the names of James Orange, who you probably wouldn't know, in Birmingham. And of Michael Schwerner, James Chaney, and Andrew Goodman, killed by the Klan in Philadelphia, Mississippi. I accept this award in the name of Ella Baker, Constance Baker Motley, Thurgood Marshall, Charles Hamilton, great, extraordinary lawyers. Of Abraham Joshua Heschel. Accept this award in the name of Rabbi Yaakov Prince. My parents were domestic household servants. My father had a 4th grade education. My mother, an 8th grade education. When I was born as their only child, they had no home of their own. So the first 6 years of my life, I lived with them in the servants' quarters of where they worked. And then they sent me to a Catholic boarding school, where from essentially 6 to 14, I was raised in the loving hands of Catholic nuns, white Irish Catholic nuns. So, as I get closer to my own horizon, and you named this award after me, I don't know that there's anything else that could ever more beautifully happen to me if I lived to be 100 years of age. So I thank you, I thank you, I thank you, I thank you from the bottom of my heart. And don't you ever forget what I said, that this award may nominally bear my name, but my name is representative only of those persons who are no longer here to speak for themselves, and collectively probably did more than I could ever do in my lifetime. And before I could leave, I cannot say enough about this man who for 7.5 years, he said to me, Clarence, how is it possible? How did it happen that a Baptist preacher ended up having a lawyer who was raised by Catholic nuns? I said, paraphrasing something from I said, Martin, you know the Lord works in mysterious ways. He has wonders to perform. You have important things to do this morning, so I don't want to take up any more time other than to say I am supposed to be a master craftsman in a wordsmith, and I am. I have some, pride and humility, so forth. And I am, but this challenges This challenges, the saying anything in response to this challenges any words that I could come up, either thoughtfully or spontaneously. So I thank you, I thank you, I thank you, I thank you, I thank you very much.